So back to the UV unwrapping, UV editing. So here you have a normal map showing up, and we don't want that. So what that is the active texture. We can go into texture paint, and it's just where the actual window is that I wanted to find, and you can switch between these right here. So the textures that are connected by nodes in your material will be listed right here. So we can change this to the albedo map, the base color. So that's what we're looking at. Back to UV editing. So we can see we have this one right here. We don't want, we don't want this to be like that. You can select this island here, R90, rotate, and bring it over. Just make it look just like that, more like it's, and it will change all four while we still have them mirrored, right? That's why we want to leave the modifier for now. So next we can click the ends, sorry, let's go to faces, take these ends, and we can just move these to be, I guess, using the side plank here. If you don't have this, it's perfectly fine, just use them like this, right? Stay away from any of the lines like that. These are just the ends of pieces of wood. I'm going to use them on the sides. Now, these ones. So just A to select that one whole thing, and you'll get all your islands right here. Just going to move this, be something like that. So next we'll take this, R90, change it like that. You can be perfect with this if you like. I'm just going to yeah, I think that's good. Next, the sides here. So A to select everything, and we've only got one right, which is very convenient. Same thing here. Select these. Scale them down a little bit. Put this down here some more. Okay, place that somewhere like that. Next, these two here. So the you can see some of these are white, and that's just because we added them without adding a material to them. So we can just select this little arrow here in the materials tab, and just say use the same material as everything else. Just click that so that they know that they're using the same one. Right, each one. Okay, let's see if we unwrap these properly. So again, this is vertical, and our texture is horizontal, so we'll do this. R90. You might be able to put these side by side somewhere over here. Sure, that works. And like I said, those ends are just for when we break the object. We're going to be able to see the ends after that happens. R90. Here. Okay, this side. Basically continue what I'm doing here on each one without applying the modifiers yet, just because it makes it a lot easier. Alrighty. Good. Okay, so we can click our cube now. We can just select one single face, and I can choose basically how many planks are on one face. I think 3 is good enough because we don't want too many to. We don't want too many objects popping out in the game world. So what I'm going to do is cut these up then afterwards. So we have 3. 1, 2, 3. That's brilliant. Take this one. And press G and Y because this is only 2D. You only have X and Y on here, right? You do not have Z axis. Something to note. Bring these down a bit too. All right. So we mapped this to the way we want it to our image here. Now what we can do is apply all the mirror modifiers. So we're going to go back into layout. Click Map Cap Texture, sure. Or we can just click this little material preview. You can see the bumps and stuff like that. We can click the rendered option, and we can see it with shadows and things like that. So however you want to be looking at it when you do this. And the Eevee rendering engine will give you some weird shadows, but it's just because it works very fast and it's not perfect. It's totally fine. Okay, so now basically what we have is like a base model for our to create a few different assets from. So we can create the broken crate from this. We can create a bunch of different LOD systems for this specific prop. We can go into the prop and we can delete the faces that are going to be invisible and leave them visible for the broken object. So the next thing we have to do before we actually continue is change the origin of this object to be actually on the floor plane. Like when we drag this into the world, we don't want it half in the ground and half out. So let's just use circle select in object mode and click the little dot there. As long as you select the origin, like if this was over here, the origin is there. So if I paint here, I'll get that one. But without, if I just paint here, I won't get it because the origin is over here, right? Let's move that back. Okay, so just select the origin dot right there in object mode, and you're going to get the entire thing. So let's just drag it up, G and Z. And you want this slightly below the x-axis, just so that the shadows act properly in Unity. You don't want it above, you don't want it directly on, you want it just slightly lower. Okay, brilliant. Whoops. Keep that all selected and hit Control A. What you can do here is you can apply the transform. So if I click my object here, you can see that the Z position has changed. So if we want to set that back to 0 so that Unity knows that its location is 0, 0, 0 at this position, not where it was, we can hit Control A to apply different transforms. So right now it's only the location, but we can hit all transforms. That's usually what you want to do. You want the scale to be a 1-to-1 ratio when you first drag it into Unity. One more thing to note is if you zoom out here and you can see your light just like this, these two cubes, basically, these bigger ones, are 2 meters. So a human, averagely, is around 1.8 meters. So a crate, I guess, would be up to, what, somebody's waist? Not entirely sure. We can scale this down to be around somebody's waist. So maybe 1.8 is probably about here, so we'd probably go something like this. You want your objects to be uniform when you're creating a game. So when we do that, we need to apply our mirror modifiers first. Because if we do apply, our origin of the object will move to down here, and this being mirrored on the Z-axis, anything being mirrored on the Z-axis is going to fall down here then, because it's going to want to be the exact, I'll show you. Control A, all transforms. It's going to want to be exactly the same distance from the origin as the top objects, right? So separating like that. So what we need to do is actually apply the mirror modifiers first before we apply that. So let's go through and do that. So all these here, apply. You can see the little wrench next to them if they have a modifier. It's useful. Apply. Apply, 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 apply. We can actually connect this object together now. So we can take all these, Control J. That's join. So you can join different meshes together by hitting Control J with all of them selected. So now we just have the cage around the object and the cube itself here. So I want to select the cage, cube. You can click and then just hit Shift and click again, or you can do the paint method. Control A, all transforms, and because there's no mirror modifiers anymore, it's going to stay where it is. And the origin is perfect now. Great. So now we have a base asset here that we can continue modifying to make different assets with. I think the first thing I want to do is connect these. So Control J again. Okay, so now it's all one. I want to go into edit mode, select. Is that because of the rendered shadow? Tis. Okay, let's go into material preview just so we don't get any of that. Select the object, A to select everything. Let's go into UV editing. Now, generally for games, you do not want any overlapping UVs, so if I press L, hover over this, I can press G and move it, and you can see that because we mirrored them, they're all overlapping, and there's overlap here, 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 here. Just for time's sake and argument's sake, we are going to use real-time lighting and not worry about this right now. So with the future assets, such as the coin and the player character, we'll paint them ourselves, and we'll have proper islands, separations, and stuff like that, and I'll explain that a little bit more when we get there. But for now, we're just going to be using real-time lighting, and this is going to be just fine. Okay, you can change that to your liking. Next, we can rename this. So you can either click the object, double click up here and change the name, or you can click the object and hit F2, and that'll give you a rename right here. So we can change this to crate. Let's change it to wooden crate _ base. Now we have our base here. So now what we can do is we can hide this and unhide it, right?